Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. I am so excited to be with you today for episode 67 of Business Storytelling Made Easy. If you've been hanging out with me for a while, you know that I've been on a little hiatus, that we took October off and I had some much needed rest. I had a chance to hang out in Mexico for a bit, so that was super fun. But I've also been busy helping out brands really use their brand story to elevate awareness of their brand, increase market share, things of that nature. So it's so exciting to be able to get back to the show today. But today is a day of first. This is our first episode where we're recording video and audio. So this episode will be available on Apple Podcasts and all those outlets, but we will also be putting the video on YouTube. So if you're joining me on YouTube, hey there, I hope that you find what we're going to get into today super helpful. So I want to talk to you today about the concept of your brand story, and does your brand story need an overhaul? There are certain indicators that we can look at that can give us an idea that, hey, maybe our brand story needs some attention. So I want to get into that today, and I actually have 10 indicators. Normally I do 3s and 5s and 7s. I don't know if I've ever brought to the table a list of 10 of anything. So I feel like today is a day of first, but I think it's going to be a good one. So let's get into it. What indicators can we look at to be able to determine, does my brand story need an overhaul? Number one, if you cannot define what makes you unique outside of comparing yourself to your competition, then you probably need a brand story overhaul. Let me say it again. Besides comparing your company and your products and services to the competition, if you don't know what makes you unique outside of those indicators, then you might need to be taking a second look at your brand story. I'll give you an example. So if you're to answer the question, what makes my brand unique? And you say, well, you know what? We are bigger than company A and we've been in business longer than company B. You probably need to dig a little bit deeper into your brand story. Independent of what anybody else is doing, has done, or will do, what do you stand for? What do you believe? What is the unique point of view that you're working from as you create your offering? That's the heart of a true brand story. I like to call it a pillar story. A few episodes back, if you've been hanging out with us for a while, you might remember the episode where we talked about the 3 types of stories that every brand should know how to tell. And one of those is that pillar story. The pillar story answers the question, what do you as a brand believe? For Nike, you could say that part of their pillar story is sport is for everyone, no excuses. For a company like Apple, their story really centers around empowering the individual, right? And also the idea of thinking differently. And so if you go to think about what makes you unique and all you got to say is, well, their product has 5 bells and whistles and mine has 10, then you might need a brand story overhaul. A true brand story is grounded in the belief of what your brand believes, and it serves as the basis and the springboard for everything else that you do. Number 2, it might be time for a brand story overhaul if your company has new leadership. When a company takes on new leadership, it's a very pivotal and critical point in that company's history in terms of how the culture is going to proceed forward, how the brand story is going to proceed forward, because oftentimes our key leaders embody the brand. It is their ways of approaching the business that really is the fabric of the brand story itself. And so when there's a changing of the guard, it's very important to be intentional about making sure that that brand story carries forward. I'll give you an example. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, it said that he was very much centered on serving people. He took a very meager salary for what his position was. He was very hesitant to even fly on a private jet for a long time or do anything that would seem overly flashy. His overall demeanor was, I'm here to serve the people. In fact, the premise of low pricing was all around, I want people to be able to get stuff at prices that they can afford. Now, when he passes away in the 90s and there's a changing of the guard, things started to switch up, right? The brand story wasn't coming through as clearly. All of a sudden, it's not about the people as much anymore. It's more about the profits. And so what we built ourselves on is now getting shaky. It's getting unclear because as the leadership changed, we didn't follow in lockstep with our brand story. And so if you're in a situation where you are a new executive leader, or perhaps you have the ear or the audience of executive leadership that's new, bringing forward, let's make sure that part of our succession planning is really getting clear and making sure that we are all on the same page and ready to embody fully what our brand story is. What's the third way that you can know it might be time for me to consider a brand story overhaul? I'm going to get ready to tell you. So the third way is if you are at a point in business where there have been shifts in the internal team. Now, this could occur through a reorg. It could occur through a merger or acquisition, but different things that happen throughout the company where either you're losing some of your workforce or you're gaining workforce. And we want to make sure that everyone is aligned and on the same page, because here's the thing. A good brand story is not just going to, encourage people to buy your products and services. It will do that. But it will also keep the activity that occurs within the company aligned. It will keep folks on the same page. It will keep people marching towards the beat of the same drum. And so as we have shifts in our team members, we want to make sure that they are grounded fully in what that brand story is and that they're using what that story is to guide strategy and to guide their day-to-day activity. So if you've got shifts in people on the team, it is time to make sure that you've got a clear, succinct, solid brand story that you can ground them in. All right. Way number 4 that you might know that it's time for you to consider a brand story overhaul is if you've got a story, but if you're honest with yourself, you know that your story is not repeatable. Maybe it's complicated, it's convoluted, it's long, right? Or maybe it's not repeatable because everyone doesn't know it. All of those indicators let you know it's time to dig a little bit deeper. I heard a statistic the other day, and it was something like, don't quote me on this, but the attention span of an adult is 7 to 12 seconds or something crazy like that. So really the idea is whatever our story is, it's got to be succinct. It's something that people can grab hold to quickly, even those on our internal teams, right? And also those outside of the company, right? It has to be something that people can grab onto quickly. And so if you don't have concise, compelling language to convey what your brand story is, where it can be easily repeated, then it is most certainly time for a brand story overhaul. Number 5, if you have a story that is focused on you and not your end user, it is time for a brand story overhaul. I'll give you an example. So let's say you position yourself as this way. We started our company in 2006 and we offer the best meal delivery options out there. We're bigger than company A. We've been doing this longer than company B. And we are so much faster than company C. In the national taste test, we always beat the pants off of companies A, B, and C. Don't you want to join? Don't you want a membership? So we focus pretty much the whole thing on what we have to offer, right? Kind of the features and benefits that we're bringing to the table, and then expecting everybody else to kind of jump on board. Or compare that with option B. We know moms like you struggle to get dinner on the table on weeknights. We believe every family deserves to have a healthy, nutritious, home-cooked meal. That's why we started ABC Company. Our menu of over 200 items ensures that families all over the country eat well. Click here to see which menu options fit your family's needs. So similar, but different in terms of you really get a feel for what is the basis of this company, like what do they believe and what are they acting upon, right? So the whole product offering is really an offshoot of that belief and that core kind of pillar ideation that the company is built upon. And that's a much more meaty kind of story to sink your teeth into. And it's focused on the end user and not just kind of bragging about all of the cool features and benefits and, bells and whistles and lights and smoke screens and all that sort of stuff that you have as a company, right? All right, so that's reason number 5. Number 6, it might be time for a brand story overhaul if the tactics are taking over. The tactics are taking over. What do I mean by that? Well, lots of times in marketing, have you noticed it's all about the tactics? Someone will say, well, you know what? We need social. We need more on social. Go post something on social. You know what? We need a website. Somebody fix our website and make it look better, and that's going to fix it. Where we're kind of spurred along by the different channels that we can use to get our message out versus actually fine-tuning our message first and then being strategic about what channels we communicate that message on and how we bring the message to life. And so it's like the tactics are taking over. We're not very strategic with the message. We're just, trying whatever thing of the day that we can to talk through. So that always tells me that it's time for a brand story overhaul. If you're on social trying to post and you don't know what to say, or you're trying to redo your website and you don't know what to say, right? That lets me know we're not starting at the beginning. Because if you have a strong story in place, then you'll be using that and pulling from that to guide you forward. So when our big ideas are tactics with no substance, it's always a signal that it is time for a brand story overhaul. Reason number 7 that you might know that you need a brand story overhaul is you are experiencing declining sales. You're experiencing declining sales. A recent study suggests that by telling your brand story well, companies have the power to increase the value of their products and services by over 20 times. And so we know that having a really, really dialed in brand story directly affects the bottom line. It affects people's behavior and it encourages them to buy. So it's very central to, if we're experiencing stagnant sales or declining sales, to dig in and really understand, do we have our messaging and our core brand stories in place? If people love a brand story, and this is what Headstream reports, 55% are more likely to buy the product in the future, 44% will share the story, and 15% will buy the product immediately. So again, we're seeing well-told stories directly affecting the bottom line. So if your sales are stagnant or declining, it makes all the sense in the world to make sure you're locked in and are telling the best brand story that you possibly can. Reason number 8 that you might know that you need to dial in your brand story is there are new competitors rising up on the horizon. So when this happens, the first thing you're going to do is compare. All of a sudden, I'm thinking about being in school and the new girl comes or the new guy comes and you kind of compare yourself to her like, she's got this, I have that, she doesn't have that. You kind of see how you measure up. And part of that is natural. But the part that we're missing out on is, you bring your own unique flavor to the table independent of what that person may or may not be doing. So let's translate that same energy to our businesses. Of course, it's wise and it makes all the sense in the world. When that new competitor comes on the scene, yeah, let's do a full assessment to see what they bring to the table. But if we're not careful, we'll end up trying to copy what we see them doing or do a version of theirs in our own way or a little bit better or whatever. And that may or may not make sense for your brand. If you're not fully grounded in what your brand is really about, then you might end up being a poor version of a copycat of someone else and really get off course from what you're all about and what your goals are and what your vision is and what your mission is. And so when we see new competitors come up on the scene, it's really wise to double down and clearly define your own brand story, your own unique point of view so that you're not swayed back and forth. so that as you do pivot and as you do address changes in the marketplace, you're doing it from a place of substance and a place of authenticity that's true to who you are. Reason number 9, you might know that you need to do a makeover or overhaul of your brand story is you're losing market share. You're losing market share. So those competitors have come up on the scene and they are beginning to dominate. Well, once again, story is a very, very useful tool to be able to address this. Psychologist Jerome Bruner, and I love the statistic, and I said it in my TEDx talk, and I love talking about it, but psychologist Jerome Bruner says that messages delivered as stories can be up to 22 times more memorable than just facts. And so if you're looking to increase awareness, if you're looking to make a splash, if you're looking to let everybody know, like, world, I am here, and this is what I stand for, you better be telling some stories. It better be more than a laundry list of the features and benefits of your products and services. We need to do more, right? It's time to elevate. Stories are really useful for brands looking to heighten awareness, get attention, create buzz, and really stand out amongst crowded marketplaces full of competitors. So if that's you, it is definitely time to take a look at your brand story. And finally, we have made it all the way to number 10. The last reason that I want to share with you that you might want to dig in and really do an overhaul for your brand story is that you are bored, honey. You are uninspired. Your work does not inspire you anymore. You are going through the motions. You are leading a team and you are going through the motions. You are feeling drained and devoid of passion. Yet you're trying to bring others along. Yet you're trying to create amazing content. You're trying to build earth-shattering strategies, and you are drained. One of the reasons that I love stories is that they are built around emotion. They draw something out of you. They draw a reaction, right? They take the numbness away. And so if you're feeling like that, it's time to reconnect with the true impact of your brand and the transformation that it provides. It's time to reconnect with that brand story. Stories evoke emotion that not only resonates with end users and encourages them to buy and pay attention to you, but they also resonate with you as a creator, as an owner, as a leader. And so if you're feeling dry, it's time to reignite that brand story, because if you're inspired, you will be able to inspire others. You will be more productive. You will be more creative. You will be at your best. I'm reminded of the business model of Southwest Airlines, which we know is, if not the most, one of the most profitable airlines in history. And one of the things that they're founded on is they believe, we're going to take care of our employees first. Through them, they're going to take care of our customers. And when that's in place, we know that we'll be able to take care of our shareholders. And so I want to commend this same idea to you. Take care of you and take care of your people. And part of the way that we do that is energizing them with a brand story that they can use to guide them, lead them, inspire them from day to day. So by way of review, let's hit one more time. What are 10 ways that you might know that it is time for a brand story overhaul? Number 1, besides comparing your company and its products and services to the competitors, you don't know what makes your brand unique. Number 2, your company has new leadership. Number 3, you have experienced shifts in your internal team, either through reorgs, mergers, acquisitions. You have lost or gained employees within your internal teams. Number 4, your story is not repeatable. Number 5, your story focuses on you and not the end user. Number 6, the tactics are taking over. Number 7, you're experiencing declining sales. Number 8, there are new competitors in the marketplace. Number 9, you're losing market share. Number 10, you are flat out bored. And so I want you to consider these. And if you are like, you know what, I do need a brand story overhaul. I need like a whole makeover, and really I need to dig in and make sure that I'm locked in terms of what my brand is all about so that I can clearly communicate that inside and outside the company. My company works with companies like yours to make sure that you can utilize your brand story to the fullest level to get attention for your brand, to increase awareness, to boost sales, to boost market share. And so, if you'd be open to having a conversation in terms of how to really maximize your brand story, and you'd like some support in doing that, definitely reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you. You can get more information and book a call at kellydparker.com. All right, y'all. Till next time. Bye.